right, we are now being joined by Paul Daley. We will field a few questions from within the room, and then we're going to turn it over to the media.
Paul, it's fight week in Milan. We're back after a long layoff. Just tell us how you're feeling.
Yeah, I feel good. Fortunate that I'm able to do my job in these, crazy times, unpredictable times. It's good that Bellator have been able to put a good show together, a good card, a good run of shows, and allow us to do what we love to do.
And it's obviously been a long layoff. Just give us an idea of what you've been doing in the break to keep yourself fresh, physically and mentally.
Well, the time's given me, the time off's given me the opportunity to spend more time with my family, which is something that, I think most people through this COVID pandemic have appreciated a lot more. As far as training is concerned, I own my own gym, Spirit Dojo Legacy. I got the keys. I've been in there pretty much since we've been allowed to, training, staying active. But, it's also given me a lot of time to rest, which I think my body needed. I've been doing this for a while now, and having prepared for the fight and then had it cancelled, I was in fight shape and already been for a camp, so it was good to rest for a little bit.
We've also got a question in from Stuart at Grassroots Boxing in London. He's just asked whether you still want that rematch with MVP at some point in the future.
I've had this question again earlier on today, and for me, like I've said, I want to compete three more times under this current contract. One of them being this fight that I've got coming up, and then there are a few fights that make sense. One of them being a title fight. Douglas Lima going up. The belt's there. I know Scott Coker said that Lorenzo Larkin is the number one contender, which I knocked him out. And I think a much bigger fight, if you were to put a fight together and were to have an audience or even just have people interested, would probably be a vacant, title or an interim title with me and MVP. It's not that I want the rematch because, like I said, I feel like I've won it. But if I'm going to compete against anyone for the belt, it's a fight that makes sense.
And looking at your opponent this week, Derek Anderson, you've obviously fought some of the biggest names in the Bellator welterweight division. How do you think he compares to some of those fighters, and where does he rank in your mind?
I don't rank him very highly, without trying to be arrogant. I said this about our common opponent, Said Awad, who had more experience than him. Also coming up from 155, I just think, even though he's 6 foot and he's fought 170 before, fighting at 170 against me is probably not the best choice. I'm not taking him lightly, but I don't see him lasting very long. I'll probably knock him out early on, either round 1 or 2.
Gareth?
Yeah, hi Paul, how are you doing?
I'm good, Gareth. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I want to take you on a little history lesson here. It's 10 years since you fought and beat Jorge Masvidal. Do you remember that 10 years ago? It's pretty much 10 years to the week. Yeah,
I do. It was obviously it wasn't the name that he is now, but I remember the fight because he took 20% because I was 0.2 over. So I remember him for that. The purses weren't that big back then, and he took my money, so I wasn't happy with him, and went on to beat him. But it's good to see him. I know you probably won't just compare ourselves at this stage, but it's good to see him doing well because he is a veteran like myself, and he's worked hard at it, and that he's getting the credit that he deserves for having put in the work in and come up really right from the bottom, fighting in back gardens.
And soon after, of course, there was Nick Diaz, Tyron Woodley, all the way up to Rudy Bears, your first Bellator fight. But the last 5 years has been the most settled of your career, hasn't it, with Bellator?
Yeah, it's took me a while to find a home, somewhere that I've been happy with, and somewhere where I feel like I can be active and have good fights against decent opponents. And Bellator is the place, they're pumping out great shows, producing a lot of talent, and bringing in already established talent. So I'm happy for the past 5 years that Bellator provided me with.
85 fights in your career. You mentioned kickboxing and mixed martial arts, of course. You mentioned 3 fights there. Is that you looking towards the end or not?
Well, it's 3 fights left on my Bellator contract. You know, I don't really want to announce a retirement or anything, but as far as this contract, that will be the end of it. Whether Bellator chooses to make me a new offer, who knows? But definitely for what I am committed to, it will be the end of that commitment after these 3 fights.
So it's not a retirement you're talking about in 3 fights then at all? Nothing to do.
I wouldn't call it retirement. I would call it, just 3 more fights left on this contract. Yeah. And
very noticeable how appreciative you are that there are events being put on during this kind of pandemic crisis. Very noticeable you were talking about that at the beginning of this interview. You have taken it very seriously by the sound of it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I feel very fortunate that I'm able to firstly go out and do a sport that I love. That's my job, and I'm able to earn money. You know, there's people, there's you know, big retail businesses closing down. There's people in really difficult situations, unable to pay their bills and going through struggle really. And I'm able to earn. Even at the best of times, you know, I'm able to earn a very substantial wage from fighting here at Bellator, and I'm fortunate. You know, I'm extremely grateful to Scott and Mike and the guys for allowing me to do this, and you know, paying me extremely well for doing what I love.
Well, you look great, Paul, and you sound great, and these are great words. Thank you very much.
Nice one, thanks, Gareth.
Steve?
All right, Paul, thank you for the time, as always. And without dwelling on it too much, we both know this fight was scheduled to happen 4 years ago. I talked to you about it then. So what happened after the weigh-in?
After the weigh-ins last time, you did? Oh, sure, sorry. But basically what happened was I started to get extreme cramps and was just, you know, I just wasn't in a fit state to fight, basically, especially with the new rules with the IV rehydration. I wouldn't have been in a fit state to fight.
Well, now that you've had the chance to revisit this fight, how are you feeling 4 years on? How much has it changed since then?
Not too much. Like I say, Derek's a tough guy, and he's coming in, you know, at kind of late notice. He's a good all rounder. I respect him as a fighter, as I did when the fight was made all those years ago. I know his game. I know what he normally does. Whether he does that against me, we'll see on Thursday. But I think as soon as I touch him, and I will, that will be the end of it. I think I'll take him out pretty early. You know, it's the one thing that I thought about was his reach, but it's not so. You know, in fact, I think I've got slightly. His is 74, 74, mine is 76. So I think I've got a slightly longer reach. And then the second thing was the height. But I bumped into him down at breakfast, and I know it's listed as him being 6'1", but he didn't seem 6'1" to me. He seemed about 5'11", so I think he's just trying to pump himself up a little bit there. But, you know, when I've been in there with beasts like Douglas Lima, I always come back to that guy because I really had to, you know, dig down and find myself in that fight. I don't fear anybody else in this division. You know, I've been hit by the biggest, baddest, one of the best pound-for-pound guys. I got back up off the canvas and carried on pushing forward for 3 rounds, and in the end forced him into a takedown. So I don't fear anybody in this division, especially a 155er coming up. I think I'm going to take him out. I'm going to take him out early, and I'm going to make it look pretty easy.
Well, speaking of him being normally a 155er, he said earlier on the call that he actually thinks that perhaps he is too big to be at 155 with his height. And Obviously, you don't think that's really the case, but what do you think of?
No. Don't get me wrong. He's a big guy, and maybe he is in height too big to be at 155. But I'm not referring to just his his physical size. I'm on about being physical. I've fought my whole career at 170 pounds. He's been fighting these small guys. Be it that he's the bigger guy against these small guys, I've fought the very best at 170 pounds and felt the strength throughout my whole career, as of those who have those 33 that have laid on the canvas and been knocked out, felt my strength at the weight. And I think that is the telling. And that's what I said against Said Awad. Said Awad had competed at 170 pounds, but most of his career was at 155. And I said that would be the difference, that when I touch him, and I will touch him, he's going to go to sleep. Whether he feels the strength in the clinch, where he feels the strength in my punches, or wherever it be, when he feels it, he's going to know he's in a new weight class.
All right, Paul, massive respect to you, and have a great performance on Thursday.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take one or two more questions here. Luis?
This is your 62nd fight. You are a welterweight veteran. Which goals do you have in mind hitting this main event?
With regards to the main event, it's just to get out there healthy, finish the fight as quickly as possible. With regard to looking forward in my career, it's just to enjoy what I'm doing and just appreciate the fact that I'm able to do what I do. Just get the fight done and look forward to what Bellator will line up in the future.
With the champion fighting against Mousasi, how close do you feel to a title shot in this very deep Bellator welter division? Or who do you want next, thinking on a victory this Bellator 247?
There's not really a fight that I want next. I said earlier on that I think I'm deserving of a title shot based on the fact that Scott Coker says that Lorenzo Larkin is next, or Lorenzo Larkin is next. And I dispatched him with ease and would do it again with ease. I know he's got the title shot of beating Koreshkov, but I was initially supposed to face Koreshkov on this card, and I'd signed up to it, and I would have beat him also. So I think whoever it is, it should be for that interim title or for that vacant title. And you can leave the contract blank. Just put the title in there, put any name you want, and I'm game to go. I don't have any particular opponent.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul. Good luck the rest of the week.
Cheers.